Why isn't King Leopold II, who is responsible for the deaths of about 10 million Congolese, why isn't he vilified on the same level as Hitler or Stalin? Why do Belgians say the atrocities in the Belgian Congo were Leopold II's fault and Belgium wasn't responsible for them? So you see, King Leopold II of Belgium, he ruled Congo. It was called Belgian Congo from, I think, 1885 to 1908. Okay? That's what, 15 plus 8 is 23 years. And during those 23 years, he unleashed the worst of depraved barbarities on the people of the Congo. And then, after everything is done and dusted, he destroyed all the documents, most of the documents about what he had done. So today, that's why there is ambiguity about exactly how many people he killed. Some of the things he did was he created these child labor camps. He would kill off lots of Congolese people. That gave rise to lots of orphans whose parents had been murdered by the Belgians. And those children would then be taken as slaves and put into slave labor camps where they would be worked to death. Okay, doing whatever, mining, digging, rubber plantation stuff, or whatever. Those children also eventually died. And they would have these daily targets for everybody, whatever, based on whatever work they were doing. And if they did not meet the daily targets, their hands would be chopped off. Okay, their hands would be chopped off, black people's hands. And to commemorate that, in Belgium, there is this Belgian hands chocolate. Okay, hands chocolate. They still sell this. They still sell this. Okay, they still sell this in Belgium. It was based on what they used to do to these people. They used to chop off people's hands. They used to chop off children's hands. And the Belgians still celebrate this. There is something called Tête de Nègre. Tête de Nègre. Okay, Tête de Nègre. Which, well, it's based on the N word in French. Okay. And these are supposed to represent the heads of African people. And when I was a kid in Europe, it was still called Tête de Nègre. Today it's called something else. I think they've changed the name to make it less offensive and to kind of hide their guilt. But yeah. So Leopold II was an utter brute, a barbarian, a genocidal maniac. But nobody talks about him. Hitler, very bad. I'm not saying Hitler isn't bad. Hitler was a monster. Sure. But Hitler is said to have killed 6 million people. 6 million. This guy, Leopold II, killed at least 10 million. But nobody regards Leopold as a monster. When we talk about the evilest people of the 20th century or the past few hundred years, we talk about Hitler. We talk about Stalin. Maybe Mao. No one talks about Leopold. Why is that? Because Leopold killed non-white people. White people weren't affected, so it doesn't matter. Non-white people aren't equal to white people. They used to have human zoos in Belgium. Have you heard of the human zoos in Belgium? Let me show you. Human zoo, Belgium. Belgium has this horrific history, okay? No one talks about today. They used to put children and people in human zoos, and the white people would stand outside and watch. I mean, look at this little child. She is being displayed in a human zoo. Absolute monstrosity, what the Belgians did. Absolutely monstrous people. Okay? And these human zoos, they went on until, I don't know, 1958, was it? How long did this go on? 19th and 20th centuries. You even had this in the US, of course. That's fantastic. The US also has its own wonderful history, but we're discussing Belgium here. The US is a fantastic nation, by the way. They lecture us about freedom and human rights and democracy. So this is what Belgium did. So the thing is that they did not, their victims weren't white. Their victims were blacks. Blacks don't matter. There used to be this, this cartoon comic book series, Tintin. The creator was Hergé, who was French Belgian. So Tintin in Congo. Tintin in Congo. So this is a pretty racist and pretty nasty thing, actually. I mean, growing up, I was a big fan of Tintin. So most of the Tintin stories are still great, actually. But Tintin in Congo, there's a lot of racism in this. I'll not go. I'll not bother you with the details. You can look it up yourself. What kind of racism exists in there? Pretty, yeah. It was pretty normal for those days. I think Tintin in Congo must have come out in the 1930s. It was pretty normal to be racist against black people at the time. So that's what happened. Because the people weren't white, Hitler killed people who were mostly white. Even the Jewish people at that time, I suppose, in Europe were considered to be white people. So Hitler evil. Stalin killed his own people. Well, today the Europeans regard the Russians as non-white, I suppose, Asians or whatever, Asiatics. But back in the day, they were, I suppose, considered white. And Stalin killed white people. That's why he's slightly bad. He's considered to be somewhat bad. Not as evil as Hitler, but still evil. And now no one cares. He killed Chinese. Who cares? Chinese are not white, so it doesn't matter. So the thing is, if white people die, then whoever did that is super evil. If brown people or Chinese or Eastern Asian people die, then it's a lesser category of evil. And if black people are victimized, no one cares at all, especially in the West. So that's why no one cares. And nobody bothers to, paint Leopold II in the same light as Hitler. He just killed blacks. Who cares? Now, why do Belgians say the atrocities in the Belgian Congo were Leopold II's fault and Belgium wasn't responsible for them? Because it's convenient. Just blame the guy. I mean, all the Belgian officers and officials and civilian administrators and all who oversaw the bureaucratic execution of these massacres and this genocide, they don't matter, right? They were all just following orders. Didn't the Nazis say that we were just following orders of Hitler? Right? So it's convenient. And because there's been no pressure on Belgium, right? See, Belgium did this until the 1908, in 1920s, 1930s even. And then you had the First World War, the Second World War. And Belgium then portrayed itself as this small European nation that was victimized in the world wars. And they ran with that claim. And that's why they just either stayed quiet, kept quiet about about Congo, or said it was Leopold II's fault. It's only in the 1990s onwards that they kind of said, okay, maybe we may have been not very right in what we did. And yeah, it is regrettable, blah, blah, blah. But they were never really apologized for this. So if you're a white nation, you can get away with all these things.